friends, Laura here. I'm back to start another reading vlog. So it is March 29th and I am on spring break from school, which is so nice to have a week off. I at the start of COVID, we lost all our days off. They've gotten much better doing it this year, I think just cuz New York is not in as terrible a spot as we were last year for COVID, but there's still a lot of things happening. I was on quarantine the last week because my school got infected. So there's been a bunch of stuff going on. But I am trying to use this week as sort of a looking forward and also a looking back. Also, the end of the month is in the middle of the week. And I always do like some goal setting. And I'm also doing some goal setting for spring. I'm also trying to wrap up the books I want to read in winter. As a person, since I've been on BookTube, I have failed at those end of the year lists. I've just failed miserably at them. I've never been very good at them, but I'm trying my hardest to be a little bit better at those lists. So I've tried to do it a little bit differently this year. So I'm actually doing a lot better. So I only have a couple of books on my winter section that I haven't tackled yet. And that is going to be sort of where I start for this reading vlog. So yeah, I have a few things that I'm going to try to tackle before Monday when I go back to work. And I'm pulling from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm pulling from about 6 reads. I don't think I'm gonna finish all of them, but I would like to finish most of them. So I can pick 2 my spring list and make those before the end of break. So the books that I'm going to be pulling from for this reading vlog is Fable by Adrienne Young, which is an arc I've had for so long. I actually got it over the summer when I went to virtual ALA. Brightly Woven, which is a graphic novel from Alexandra Bracken's. It's like a graphic novel inspired by her first novel. I read the first novel a couple of years ago and liked it. But this is like a graphic novel because that series never wound up going forward. That is not actually on my list, but I do have it from the library and I need to read it pretty quickly. Also, The Last Equation is not on these lists, but it is from my Shelfie challenge that I had for March, so I hope that gets chosen. Also, Sky Hunter by Mary Lou was on my list. Bridge of Souls by Victoria Schwab was on my list. And Super Fake Love Story is just a contemporary book that I decided to pull in here. So I'm basically choosing from 6 reads. Oh, and also World Between Blanks from Amy Kaufman and Ryan Groudon, which is a time travel middle grade. So yeah, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have about 7 books that I'm going to be choosing from for this reading vlog. I am also listening to 2 books. I'm listening to When He Was Wicked by Julia Quinn, and I'm also listening to Bitter Blue by Christian Kishore. So those are my audiobooks that I hope to tackle before the end of this week as well. So yeah, those are all the books that I'm going to choose from. I am going to go do a random number generator and just pick 1 to 7, and then I'm going to come back and tell you guys what I'm reading. Be right back. Hi friends, I'm back. So I did actually the numbers wound up choosing Fable by Adrienne Young. This is a book that I've heard actually really good things about. I had read her first one, Sky in the Deep, I think, and I didn't like that one as much. I think it might have been because I listened to it. Just was not my favorite, but this one has to do with aquatic themes. There's a sequel that I also have an arc to, so I also heard it has a romance element to it, and it involves the water and the sea, and I tend to read those in the spring and summer, so this might actually be a great one. And if I really like it, I might just add Namesake to the books to read next in the spring as well, so that might be a little bit of a secret goal. But I am going to start. I think I started this at some point, and then I just put it down because I was reading it on my phone. So I am going to pick it up. I'm going to read a couple of chapters. Again, I'm reading it on my Kindle, so I can't do the page numbers like I normally do, but I'll read a couple, 3 chapters, 4 chapters, and then I'll give you guys a quick update. I'll also at that point give you guys a YouTube Cube update because I am trying to catch up on BookTube videos. If I tend to save all my BookTube videos and then just sort of watch them as background noise. I also did work out with my dad, so I'm going to have to do my other workout later. But I'm going to go start Fable, and then I will update you guys when I can. Bye. Here, so I did end up getting up to about chapter 6 in Fable, and I wanted to just do a quick summary of what I've read so far. So I basically follow this girl named Fable, and they live in an aquatic, an ocean, seafaring community, I guess. And about 4 or 5 years ago, her dad just left her for death on this island and kind of took off, and her dad's name is Saint. And she is sort of making it her mission to get off of this island. And she's basically can find these abalone shells and sell them. And she's hoping to get enough shells so she can go and basically re-find her father. And her father basically left her on this island. And there's a lot of cutthroat people that are really like after all her money, and they, she's had situations where she's like been taken advantage of. Her money has been stolen from her, and she's so close to getting to this, and she just has to convince someone. First she has to find the money to get off this island, and then she has to convince someone to take her off the island. So it's a two-part plan, and now that part of the plan is sort of in progress after some drama happened. I do like her as a character, like right off the bat. She's very, very fun. It's also like it's getting warmer here, so I like to read books about like winter. I mean, like summer stuff. So I read All the Tides in Fate very, very recently, and also really like that one. This one is fun. I definitely like this story a little bit better than Sky in the Deep. I just feel a little bit connected to the characters, and there is a lot of people to like play around with, which I do like. I've said this before. I like books that have like a wide cast of characters, not a small cast of characters. But I'm also watching some YouTube videos. I'm watching Alexa and Mackie's book haul, and then I'm probably gonna go work out, because if I don't do that, I will forget. I'm trying to get better at working out when I'm actually home, because it's a little bit easier. So I'm gonna go finish this chapter, work out, and then when I read a couple more chapters, I'll give you guys another check-in. Bye. Right here, it's about 5:12. I'm about to get some dinner, hopefully, but I did want to say that I wouldn't. And Laura here, just checking back in. I do hope to get some dinner soon, but I just want to check in and say that I'm really liking this book like quite a bit. I went in sort of with like low expectations, I'll be a little bit honest, because I didn't love Sky in the Deep by Adrienne Young. I didn't like it at all. I was not one of my favorites, but I love books that have like like a crew that doesn't like to like an unexpected crew that kind of has to work together towards like a common goal. Like that's a trope that I love in like all types of stories. May it be contemporary, may it be fantasy, may it be sci-fi. So it sort of reminds me a little bit of like that big trope, but they're all fun characters. And like the first half of the book was very much her just sort of surviving day to day in like such a cutthroat world. And now she's sort of on a ship, and she kind of convinced this crew to kind of give her a ride somewhere, but there's some secrets that they're holding from her, and then there's some secrets that she's holding from them about her true identity, which I think is always a fun trope. And I'm just really liking it. It's a very, very fast-paced read. I like the sea as like an adventure. I like the crew elements. So again, it sort of reminds me of All the Tides in Fate that I read recently, but also like Aurora Rising or Aurora Burning, that series with Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff has such like a fun crew, and you're kind of learning a little bit more about everyone. But I just like that trope a bit. I'm really enjoying this book like quite a bit. I'm a little bit shocked that I'm liking it this much, but I really am liking it. I'm also catching up on Merrily Kristen's vlogs. She's back and she's doing great work. So she is like obsessed with Pokemon, and I don't have an interest, but I like watching her excitement because it just puts a smile on my face. But I wound up getting up to chapter 11, which is like 25% into this read. I'm really enjoying it. I like Fable as a main character. I think she's sort of unique and different, but I definitely like the setting. The setting is definitely my highlight. And it really isn't like fantastical in any way, but it's more action and adventure, and I have been craving that, so I'm really enjoying it. But I'm going to read a little bit more, hopefully get some dinner, and then when I get up to like read a couple more chapters, I'll give you guys another update. Bye. Laura here. It's about 6:42. I did end up getting up to chapter 14 in Fable. This book is really interesting. It has a lot of I've said this before, and if you watch some of my other fantasy reading vlogs that I've done, I like books where like the setting sort of changes in some ways. Like we started in one very different location, we sort of went to another very different location, and now we're in a third very different location. And it just sort of like makes your characters develop a little bit more. There's also a lot of secrets in this book, both on Fable's side and also on Wes's side, which is really intriguing because like you don't know a lot about any of these characters. Even really Fable, like you know a little bit more about Fable, obviously, because it's told from Fable's point of view. But there's also just elements that are being introduced, and what Adrienne Young does really well in this book, which I struggled a little bit in her past reads, is she's really like developing this world super slowly, which is interesting because all these characters are well aware of this world, and we as the audience are not well aware of the world, which I think is hard as a writer sometimes because you have to let your audience know stuff that your characters already do, and I always struggle with that world telling a little bit because I feel like I'm always on the outside of a story. But I do like it in this book. I also do like the seafaring elements. I have to add some more seafaring elements to it. So if you know some, put them in the comments of this video. I don't get a lot of comments normally, but if you do know some like seafaring books like All the Tides and Fade or about Fable or like, other seafaring books, put them in the comments below. I would love some recommendations. But I'm going to read a couple more chapters, and when I get up to about 16 or 7 or 17 or 18, I'll give you guys another update. Bye. Right here, I did get up to chapter 17, which is like 40% done. I'm probably going to read until like 50%, and then I'm probably going to put the book down because I did actually read quite a bit today. I just finished watching a video from Haley in Bookland, and I think I'm going to try to read 100 pages every single day in the month of April. I normally do that on weekend. I'll talk about this in another video, but I think I normally do that on weekends, but I'm going to try to do it like on actual weekdays, which doesn't always happen. But it wound up getting up to about chapter 17 in Fable. There was also an element introduced that has to do with gems, and for some reason I really like gems in stories, and like the gem trade. I think that's a really interesting element, and that was sort of interesting. That was sort of developed in here. We also learned a little bit more. We're learning a little bit more about Fable's past, and a lot more about the crew's past, which I think is really, really interesting. So yeah, I'm gonna read until 50%, and then I'm probably gonna call it a night because my eyes are getting a little bit tired. But this is just such a fun read. Like I'm really surprised that I'm enjoying it so much because I really struggled with Adrian's writing in the first book I read by her, but I'm really liking it. I like the characters. I think that they're super fun. The only thing that would have made this book a little bit better is if we got like all the characters' point of views because they're all really interesting and compelling. But again, it just heightens the mystery that we don't have their point of view. So I'm sort of conflicted on that, but I really am liking it. So I'm going to read for about 10 more percent, and then I'm going to check in with you guys again, and then I'll give you guys my thoughts at that point. Talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. Laurie here. I did wind up getting up to page like 45% done in Fable. I'm really liking this book, and as I was reading it, I realized why I'm like really interested in it. Recently, I watched the Tom Holland movie, The Heart in the Sea, which is like the Hemingway movie, which is all about the sea. And I just think like seeing that, and then it gave me a lot of visuals. There's a lot of like sea stuff going on. I also remember I really liked, there was an episode of Dawson's Creek back in the day where Pacey had a boat and there was like a big accident on the boat, and that reminds me of it. So I have a lot of sea imagery in my head when I'm reading this. There's also a lot going on in this story. There's a lot happening. And normally when I read like an action and adventure story, it doesn't capture me as much because there's no like magic system. There really isn't a magic system in this story, but there's a lot of like superstitions that, and you go with sailing, and then there's a lot of like sub elements. I'm really enjoying it. Definitely reading it quicker. I really do enjoy it, so I'm probably going to try to finish the majority of this book tomorrow. But I do want to say that I am going to try to tackle a little bit more of Big Bang Theory tonight. I literally only watched the last season of Big Bang Theory once, because if I remember correctly, that was the first year I was teaching, and I think that was the only season of TV I like watched that year that was like on time. Everything else I was like so far behind on because of Willy Wonka. I think that was the only season of TV that I like watched live that year because it was just fun, and I like Sheldon and Penny like just a lot, and like the whole gang. So I'm actually trying to I've fell down a little bit of a binge watching hole with that, but I literally don't remember the last season like at all. I know at the end episode because I have a clear memory of that, but everything else leading up to that I really don't have a memory of. So overall today I actually did I finished reading Wings of Ebony, which I talked about in my other reading vlog, and I started reading Fable, which I've made a pretty good progress on. Tomorrow I'm going to go to yoga in the morning. Hopefully it's not as windy as it was today. I have to go get my ears cleaned at the doctor. So some errandy stuff. I always do all my errandy stuff for the days that the weeks that I'm off. So I go out of the house a lot. But I did want to say that I am really enjoying this book. Definitely more than I thought I would, which is good. This is sometimes why I put books off because I don't think I'm going to enjoy them. But I'm really liking this one. I know that there's a companion book coming out as well, and I do have the arc of Namesake as well. So I will check in with you guys tomorrow morning, and bye guys. Laurie here. It's about 8:15. I did actually wind up waking up a little bit earlier. Well, earlier than I normally do. I woke up at 7. I've been trying to get into a better wake-up schedule, but I went up doing that, so that was good. I also ended up reading another chapter in How to Avoid a Climate Disaster by Bill Gates. It's a very, very interesting read. It really makes me look at climate change in sort of a different perspective, and I'm really liking it. But I do have to go to yoga today, which I'm really excited about. I never get to go to like during week classes because I'm always working. I also applied for a potential summer job, which if I get it would definitely alter the content I put out this summer and in general my summer plans. But it's been something I've been thinking about for quite a few years, ever since I started working at the school that I work at. For those that don't know, I put up a show every single year, but it's very, very much like it's my show. I pretty much do most of the things by myself, and I worked at the summer camp many, many years ago. I think it's probably before I was on BookTube that I probably worked at the summer camp. I worked a couple of years ago, and I would go there for the summer, and it's a big arts camp. It's in Lake Loch Sheldrake, New York, and I work there. I was a swing tech at the time, but now I want to go back as an AD or assistant stage manager, which assistant stage manager is more what I do in my life, but I want to get a little bit more directing experience since I will be directing for the rest of the years of my life. So I'm hopeful that they may hire me. I also know that it's a weird time. Anything could happen. Our season might get canceled due to COVID, but I figured I would put my feelers out in the atmosphere and see what happens. But I said this in a few other reading blogs since, I only ever put up one show by myself, and then COVID canceled my last two shows, so I'm just feeling a little bit of like creativity. I just need some more creativity in my life, so if I don't wind up getting that job, I will continue to apply, and maybe in the future I could do it. It may not be this summer might not be the best summer to do it, but I figured I would apply and see what happens. But I am gonna go to yoga, but I do want to read a little bit before I go there. I would love to finish this book today. I said last night I'm really enjoying it, like finding it to be such a compelling read. Definitely really happy that I picked it up. So I'm gonna go read this. I have a shorter true crime video to watch, and then I'll probably head up and go to yoga, and I'll check in with you guys when I'm back. Bye. I'm back. Sorry, my hair is a little bit messy because I went for a walk after yoga, and my hair looks like, I just was caught in like a windstorm. But I did want to say that I did wind up reading quite a little bit of listening to a little bit of Bitter Blue on my walk home. Still not my favorite YA series, but I definitely like that book more than Graceling and Fire, so that's an improvement. I also read a little bit more of Fable. I'm now on 51% into it, which is where I wanted to be sort of like last night. But we're in sort of a different setting. So this book has changed settings so dramatically and has put Fable in so many different environments that have really changed her. And now we're keep floating back to the past, which I really like because I think it just informs her character a little bit more. I still hope that the characters she was on the ship with are still a big part of the story because I really love those characters. So I'll have to report back on that. But everything else I'm still really enjoying. It's quite a fun read. Very, very engaging. Again, I didn't say I'm pleasantly surprised by this book, so that's a good thing. I also have to go to a doctor's appointment today to get my ears cleaned. But that's a little bit later. So I'm gonna read a little bit more. I'm on chapter 22, so when I get to like chapter 24 or 25, I'll probably give you guys another update. I also am back to watching some YouTube videos, which is the bane of my existence because people put up so many videos. So I got it down to 59, which is pretty good. I just added a couple more this morning, so still pretty good. I can probably finish it today, and then my goal is to finish watching Big Bang Theory today as well. Not today, but like in the next couple of days, so I can spend the weekend catching up on all the other shows I haven't watched. It's a lot of stuff to watch, I know, but that's the cross that I bear because I just watch too many things. But I'm gonna go read a little bit more, probably get some lunch, and then I'll check in with you guys again. Bye. Hello, here I am back. It's almost 1 o'clock. I did wind up reading up to chapter I think it's 27, of Fable. Really, really liking this book. This book is so action-packed, and I'm really intrigued by it. There's a lot of mystery and secrets, and I love the settings. I said this before, there's like a lot of different settings in this book. We also might get like a potential treasure adventure, which I think is awesome. I'm so here for this book. I really am liking it, and it's really not focused on romance, which you find so little in YA fantasy novels. There's always a very, very strong romance plot, and I think it probably will develop, especially with one of the plot points that was just sort of revealed. But I'm really liking it. There's also a lot of like a lot of drama that's happening that sort of like makes sense. Sometimes I feel like in YA fantasies, especially in first books, all the drama seems a little bit contrived to me, but in this story, it does seem like a little bit more interesting. There's also the father in this book, a Fable. Ooh, he makes my blood boil. I don't think I've ever encountered a father, like a character like that, I've hated that much since like the Commandant in Ember in the Ashes. Like, he is vicious. Um, but it's a really compelling read. I've said this before. I'm not always a fan of stories that don't have magic in them, especially fantasy. But this book series I'm really enjoying, so that's definitely something to consider in for my future readings. But yeah, I'm gonna go read a little bit more. I do have to go to my doctor's appointment at some point. But I'm gonna try to finish this before I go to my doctor's appointment. I doubt that will happen, but I do want to make pretty good progress. I'm past 60%, and normally in my reading life, normally when I get past 60%, I can finish pretty quickly. So I'm gonna go back to reading and I'll update you guys when I can. And I'm also back to watching Peace Love Books. I love her videos. She is the booktuber that turned me on to reading historical fictions, and I love her recommendations because once I finish the Bridgerton series, I will be looking for a new historical fiction series to binge, and she's where I'm going. So talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye. Blurry here, I'm back. It's about 5:08. I did actually wind up going to my doctor's appointment. I worked out. Had lunch, dinner, all the fun things. But I did get it to like 95% done in Fable. So I'm going to actually go finish the rest of it. Really enjoying it so far. There's definitely is taking some unexpected twists and turns. I'm curious to see where this book ends and if the next book also follows Fable, if it follows another character. I don't look up summaries until I get there because I don't want to spoil myself. But I'm going to go finish Fable, check out what Namesake is about, and then I'll check in with you guys. Bye. I really need to read the sequel for this book. I wound up really enjoying it. It definitely ended on a cliffhanger that I wasn't expecting. It is only a duology, which means I'm probably going to add this to my spring reading plans, like the lists I make, because I do really want to read it, and it just did come out. This was such a surprising read for me. I said this before, I wasn't really expecting to love it, but I really did. It was very, very action and adventure-y. The romance sort of snuck up on me in the book, and I really like the crew overall. So I'm gonna go choose my next read. I think it's gonna be a physical book and give my eyes a little bit of a break. So I'm gonna go figure out what I want to do. I don't know if I'm gonna do a random number generator. I think I know the one I'm gonna choose because it was my shelfie pick for March. So I'm gonna go get that. I'll sort of talk through that, and then I'll switch base with you guys in a little bit. Bye. So the next book I am gonna pick up is The Last Equation by Stuart Gibb. This was my shelfie pick, and I wound up reading the other one, and tomorrow is the end of the month, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish this. Middle grade I tend to read really quickly, and this is like a mystery. It's from the author that wrote the Spy School series, and I know it has something to do with like Albert Einstein. I know that that's the mystery. Yeah, devise an equation that could benefit all life on Earth or destroy it. It fell into the wrong hands. Disclosing her location, and the CEI agent dragged Charlie into the hunt, needing her intelligence to help find it first, and even though this means putting her life in grave danger. Charlie Thorne is a genius, Charlie Thorne is a thief, Charlie isn't old enough to drive, and now it's up to her to save the world. I always like these books because they're super fun. They're like not at all realistic, but they're really, really fun. So I'm going to go start this and see how far I can get. I'm also watching a true crime video, so when I'm done with my true crime video, I'll probably give you guys an update. But I tend to read middle grade quickly, and I've had this since the summer of 2019, so a bit. This is probably the last BookCon that I went to, probably. This is probably the last BEA that I went to. I probably got this from BEA, the last time we had a BEA. So I'm going to go start this, and then I will check in with you guys when I'm done with my true crime video. Talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. Slurry here. It's about 6:40. I did actually wind up reading about the first 50 pages of The Last Equation by Charlie Thorne in The Last Equation. I always want to say the author's name is Charlie Thorne, but it really is Stuart Gibbs. This book reminds me so much of Artemis Fowl, like so much. I have never read the Spy School series, but I have read most of the Artemis Fowl series. It's just a fun read. These books are not at all realistic, but I do like kid geniuses. They're fun. This also is connected to Albert Einstein, so that's sort of how the first book started. You kind of saw Albert Einstein dying, and then there was something he said on his deathbed that sort of sent everything else into like disarray, and then you flash forward like, you know, I think it's like 70 years later, I think, and then you find the CIA needs a young genius's help to help them solve this problem that Albert Einstein left us. And she is a little bit hard to track down. I also did watch my 2 true crime videos. Most of them always get posted on Tuesday for some reason, but now I'm gonna go back and finish watching Peace Loves Books, her videos. I have quite a few that I have never watched, so I'm gonna go watch those. And I will update you guys when I get up to about page 100. But yeah, really, I'm enjoying it so far. It definitely reminds me a lot of Artemis Fowl, but I'll take that. Talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. Sorry, here I'm back. So I'm actually gonna go relax and stop reading for the day. But I do end up getting to page 86 in Charlie Thorne and the Last Equation. Definitely reminds me of like Artemis Fowl or like other things with no magic. It's a very, very simple, you know, it's a very, very basic story. But basically, you have this character who has to go save the day. Albert Einstein is an equation that could basically bring about the end of the world, and you follow Charlie and these, CIA agents that Charlie has a little bit of a past with, and then you follow the other characters as they're trying to uncover this Albert Einstein equation that could take down the world. I think it's very, very interesting, super fast paced. It's funny. I'm watching Big Bang Theory. I'm watching the final season, and they've been talking a lot about Albert Einstein as well because Sheldon has, achieved something very, very big in the final season of that show. So, yeah, really like it. I'm only like 86 pages, and tomorrow is going to be my filming day. I have to do a bunch of filming tomorrow, end of the year wrap up and other stuff. So that's probably going to be what I'm going to do most of the day tomorrow. I'm also going to get my hair done, which will be nice. But yeah, so I'm probably going to like, don't think I'll probably finish this tomorrow, especially because I have to film quite a few things tomorrow, but I might. So yeah, I'll check in with you guys tomorrow morning when I start filming, and I will let you guys know what episode I am on Big Bang Theory, because I'm really close to the end of the last season of that show. So close. It's actually so nice to rewatch that. I think I said this in like an earlier clip or earlier reading vlog. I never like rewatched the last season of Big Bang Theory because the last season of Big Bang Theory was the first year I was teaching. And that was the only show that I watched like live. Every other show I was like months and months behind on because I just had like no time. So it's nice to like rewatch and see how that show wraps up. But I get up to page 86 and I did want to finishing Fable today. So I call that pretty much a win. So I'll check in with you guys tomorrow. Bye. Laura here, I'm back. It is about 9:30. I did actually spend the whole morning sort of prepping to film. Like I was doing a bunch of my organization stuff. It's also the last day of the month, so have a bunch of stuff I have to film today. I also have to go get my hair done today, so I'm going to try to get as much filming done before that as I can. I have to film my wrap-up, my TBR video, and a couple of other things, so I just have to sort of spend today organizing. And I hope to actually finish 2 books today. I'm in the middle of reading Bitter Blue, and I'm also in the middle of reading The Last Equation. I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish The Last Equation, but I have some hopes that I'll be able to finish it, so I'm gonna go film and get all my filming stuff done, and then when I'm done with filming, which may take me a couple hours, I'll probably like check back in with you guys and give you guys an update. But I am filming today, so I will see you guys in a little bit. Bye. Laura here, I'm back. I look a little bit different because I did go and get my hair done and it's braided. So I actually did make quite a bit of progress because getting my hair done takes a long time. I have brown, almost black hair. So any single time I want to do anything to my hair, it's always like a 2 to 3 hour process because you have to bleach my hair and then you have to put the dye on, and it was a process. But I am pleased to report I did finish Bitter Blue, which I literally just finished it like a second ago. But I have to admit, I like this book a little bit more than the other ones in the series. I like how all the books sort of came to a conclusion, and even though they're all sort of not contemporaries, companion books, they all sort of did tie together at the very, very end, which I did appreciate. I do have Winterkeep somewhere on my bookshelf, so I'm probably going to add that to my April TBR. I do have a physical copy, but I might also just try to get the audiobook since I really did enjoy my listening experience, and I made quite a bit of progress on The Last Equation. Charlie Thorne. I'm on page like 253. Now, on the back of this, it does say that it is a kid's book and a middle grade. I would say I would agree with that, but there are elements to this book that does remind me sort of like a YA novel. So I don't know if like it is pitched because Stuart Gibb is a middle grade author, but they do have chapters told from like other people's point of views. It sort of reminds me a little bit of the 39 Clue series. But it's, they're basically trying to track down this Albert Einstein equation for fear that if it's put into work, it will cause mass destruction. And you have Charlie, who's on the case with two FBI agents, and hilarity, drama ensues. It really felt like I'm reading like an action movie, and I just want to know what happens at the end. So I think I'm probably going to push through and try to finish this tonight because I just want to know what happens. And this was on my Shelfie challenge. So finish this. I'm on the verge of finishing this, which will put I'm going to have to refilm the end of my reading wrap up, but that's okay. So I'm going to go get some food because I haven't been home all day. And then I'm probably going to watch an episode of Big Bang Theory. And then I'm probably going to dive in and just, read the rest of The Last Equation. I'll probably give you guys another check-in when I get up to page 300 and then see my thoughts. But so far, really liking it. Very, very fast-paced. It was a good book to pick for, like, at a salon because I don't want to put it down, which is good. So, and I might be interested maybe to check out his Spy School series via audio because they're super short as well. And I'm always hunting for kind of short books during my commute. So I'm going to go get some food and I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye. Lori here. I'm back. I did wind up reading to page 320 in the Charlie Thorne and The Last Equation. I'm right at the end of this book. I'm in the last like little section. It is a drama-full ride. I will say that. It really does remind me of the 39 Clue series or like of Artemis Fowl with no magic. But it's really fun. I think that this would make a really fun like Netflix show or like just like a TV show because I think, or even a movie because it's so action-packed and I just think it would be a fun adventure. I think my friend Karen would really, really like this book. I might try to send it to her when I can get to a mailbox. But I really am liking it. I'm going to go finish the last, 60 pages of this, and I'll give you guys my last check-in. Bye. Friends, Lori here. So I'm actually here to wrap up this reading vlog. I have a big thing. I like to start every month fresh with new reads. I don't know why that is. It's like an irrational fear. Have no idea why. But I also think it's just because I like to start a new month with new goals and stuff. So I did wind up finishing The Last Equation by Stuart Gibbs. I keep on thinking the author's name is Charlie Thorne because it's so big, but it's really, really Stuart Gibbs. This was a perfect action adventure story. I think that this would make a great movie or a great TV show. That's part of the reason I didn't want to put it down because I was super invested and I wanted to know what happened. I also think I'm probably going to get the next book and just get the audiobook because I think action adventure stuff when I'm running around will probably make me a little bit more motivated. But I wound up giving this one 4 stars for review. I really, really liked it. And I'm going to wrap up this reading vlog. This was a little bit of a quicker reading vlog. I read this and I also read Fable in this reading vlog, which were some of the last books on my March TBR that I wanted to be done with. And now we're going to go into April with a fresh reading vlog. And I will see you guys for that next. I hope you guys are staying safe and being well. Let me know what are some things you have been doing in the comments. I never get comments, but I would like them. So tell me some things you have been doing recently or some books you have been reading. And I'll talk to you guys soon for my next video. Bye.